listening to the Power of Inspiration and Awakening Radio with Julia Griffin. To master a higher frequency for a new state of mind. Once you walked in a forest of splendor in which everything you did and everything you thought was aligned. It is possible at this time to begin to return to the old knowledge. Intuitive healer and manifestor Julia Griffin is here to talk about this unique time in history when all sentient beings, animals, plants, trees, and the earth are intent on creating this change. The wolves awakened her to the most incredible light, which opened gifts and brought knowledge that she longs to share. You are creators, and you were born to be creators of beauty, possibility, and joy. Join Julia on a journey into a beautiful and magical world where amazing possibilities exist. Let us help open the door. The Power of Inspiration and Awakening with Julia Griffin starts right now.
Hello, everyone. I'm Julia Griffin, and you're listening to the Power of Inspiration and Awakening on Transformation Talk Radio. Stay with us for the next hour, and let us help you find a higher vibration and a new way of thinking about things that will make your whole life better. I have a wonderful guest today. She is Penelope Jean Hayes. She's appeared on television hundreds of times as an expert guest, including Dr. Phil, ABC News, and internationally. She founded the study of Virology, which means contagious energy, for personal and interpersonal betterment. She is the author of the best-selling book, The Magic of Viral Energy, an ancient key to happiness, empowerment, and purpose. An important book, I think. She is the best-selling author in the genre of personal betterment. In 2020, her first book was published, titled The Magic of Viral Energy. That same year, she was granted a U.S. trademark for the term viral energy, which describes the phenomenon of contagious energy and its impact on all aspects of life. Directly following, the first or second book was released and quickly became a #1 bestseller, titled Due Unto Earth. Penelope has hosted a podcast and radio show and has used her voice for 11 books published worldwide by Blackstone Publishing and available on audio, Amazon, and everywhere audiobooks are sold. In 2021, Due Unto Earth became the #1 best-selling audiobook in its genre. You can find her and find out more about her books and her work at PenelopeJeanHayes.com. Hey, Penelope.
Hi, Julia. How are you?
Good. I'm so glad to have you here.
Oh, I'm really glad to be here again.
Oh, we're going to have two topics for all of you who are interested in, different things and a wider worldview. And the first one of those is we're going to talk about why we should go back out into the world and back to work now that 2020 is past. And before we go into that, you may be saying to yourself, well, I'm an introvert, I'm an empath, I can't stand it. Well, we know how you feel. We feel the same way. But we also found that you do feel better if you can engage the happier parts of the outer world, and that it does improve your life. And you're doing speeches and presentations about this.
I am. And it was really need driven. I speak about viral energy in so many different aspects for personal development and for relationships. But I started getting contacted by employers who were like, what can we do for our employees to encourage them to come back into the office, to come back into the workplace? And my first reaction was sort of like yours. I'm like, now, do we really, do people really want this? And so I had to, before accepting the challenge, I had to think about this from this, virology perspective to say, how is this? And it's very obvious why this is a good thing in many ways. And for some people, maybe they'll never go back into the office or back into the workplace. So it's not necessarily for everyone in every stage of life, but I have a top 12 reasons why you want to go back to the office. And I really do believe that it's true. And we'll get into all of the details of it. And there's actually 6 I'd like to share with you today if we have time. 6 of the top 12. But a lot of it has to do with just this, creative synergy that we have when we're working together with people in a physical environment. And with viral energy, what that really is the contagious nature of energy in social interactions and the environments all around us. So it's like this osmosis, Julia, where you're just like marinating in an energy. So if somebody walked into my room right now, their energy contributes to this room, and my energy contributes to them and to their experiences, and maybe even to their mood. So that's just on the surface, but I don't want to get ahead of things. But you see where we're
So
going.
I think that part of the fear that people have is like really icky energy from other people. And for a while, I think that was true when everybody was sick and there was such a fear. But there's also a thing in metaphysics that what you're encountering in the outer world is some reflection of yourself. And one of the things we're going to talk about is how do we make that reflection from the outer world better?
Yeah. Well, it's really interesting because we do want to like have our deflector shields up per se. So our energy field is like, some people use the word aura. So we have this energy field that extends slightly beyond our physical body, and it actually is semi-permeable. So it's not just this like capsule that's, separate from the rest of the world. It flows. The energy within us, this frequency flows out of us. And just like a cell phone works, that's how our energy works. It's these unseeable frequencies in the world. And so we want to protect ourselves from those negative energies that you mentioned. So sometimes people are just, shedding negativity in their life, or there's the fear, and you mentioned that as well. So just by our awareness, we sort of bring our deflector shields up. Now, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't interact with people because there might be negative energies out there. In fact, it's quite the opposite. We have to develop ourselves, fortify ourselves until we get to this point of awareness about these things. And you can, protect yourself from that. And sometimes it's just by saying, you know what? No, I don't accept that. Whatever that is, to say, I don't accept that, and to be able to stand up for yourself in a way. So there's a lot of different ways that we mitigate and we protect ourselves from negative energies, but the benefits of being around positive energies, light energies really, are just so much stronger, so much more important.
Well, I do think too, when you encounter good people who are in the world, that it reassures you. You remember, like, oh, there is this goodness in the world. There's more than shielding myself. And even for people who are at home working online and wanting to go out later, you can do a lot of things. Like one fun thing is parking space where you want it, which for me, I like to walk. So I don't want it in the front, I want it in the back. But no grocery lines. Tons of people can be in the store, but there's no one on my aisle, when I'm getting things. And then that puts me in a happier state. And I imagine you could do it with anything.
Sure. So through your visualization, you're manifesting what you want. And in this example, you want a world that you're, free and clear. The aisle is free for you of the heavy energies. And so you're, very highly evolved with your manifestation skills. I know that about you. And for other people, they may not be as practiced with it, but that's exactly what it is. It's practicing these abilities to be ultra aware that we're not even talking about anything like woohoo and out there. We're talking about something that works exactly the same way as your cell phone. And it's a real fact in the world that we're picking up energies and we're giving off energies. So what are you missing out on when you're only doing everything through Zoom?
Well, I think we need more energy than what's in our bubble, as nice as my bubble is.
Well, and that's so here's the book, The Magic of Viral Energy. I'll share the cover with those who are watching through the webinar. And one of the things, I have a chapter that speaks to the point that you just made, and that's circulation. So any resource that doesn't circulate will stagnate. Think about it. Money. If it doesn't circulate in the market, it will stagnate. It will be worth less over time. Blood, if it doesn't circulate, it stagnates. Water in a pond, it will stagnate if it doesn't circulate. And so that's actually the reference that's really applicable to this. So energy that doesn't circulate out there in the world, making things happen, meeting people at the water cooler, going out after work, energy that doesn't circulate will stagnate. So you do have this limited pool of your own creative ideas. And without that exposure to other people, and it may not be that it's their ideas, but something about them, something they said, one word sparked your own idea. and
Or just
create.
their energy field as a catalyst.
Absolutely.
Even when people are thinking the wrong way, you can say, "Oh, let me think the different way."
Right. So think of two hurricanes colliding. We've seen these movies, the perfect storm, and it's the power of one thing and the power of another thing. So these are two people. One of them's you. And as they collide, that's like the mega, the superstorm, the perfect storm. And in all the best ways, that's what's happening with your creativity, with your career, when you're allowing yourself to bring new water into your pond.
Mm.
To circulate with people and just get back out there in life.
So I know one reason that you said, and I have to agree with you, you said it's nice to put on nice clothes sometimes.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you feel the same, but I used to wear high heels to an office every day. And then, with a couple of years of COVID, it's like it physically changes you to where you don't really feel comfortable putting high heels on anymore. And you're like out of practice and your calf muscles aren't as great. Don't have that nice indentation that we women get from wearing high heels, all of these things. And the clothes don't fit because we're used to wearing,
Loose clothes,
yoga pants and loose fitting clothes. And maybe we're on a Zoom meeting and our dress isn't even fully zipped up in the back. So no bueno, my friend, no bueno. Let's get back into feeling good about ourselves. And even people that are introverted and would much prefer, if left alone, to just do everything by Zoom and work from home, they almost benefit the most because they can be very susceptible to depression and mental and emotional health issues by not communing with other people.
Right. So if we really want to grow, it's a wonderful thing to think about that. And I think also, whatever your job is, what job would you like to have and what would you like to encounter? It's an interesting thing to me, but I find it takes a lot of energy to change a negative because you think you've been dumped in it to a positive. But that's part of the work of growth.
Mm-hmm. It's like climbing out of a pit. So you can imagine a ladder, and trying to get back out is not as easy as falling in, right? We can just fall into a depression, fall into an emotional pit. But climbing up sometimes is just one rung at a time. And we have to remember that to kind of go easy on ourselves. So dipping our toe back into the workplace, getting back out into the world again and into these office environments may also be something that we want to do just one rung at a time. So it's not just, get back in there, but it probably would be healthier for you emotionally to get back to the workplace if that's where you started. And also think about all of the benefits that you have when you're working with other people. And, some of my best friends in life I've met working in offices in many different aspects of my career. Some boyfriends that I dated prior to being married, most of them I met through work. And I'll tell you what, it wasn't through a Zoom. It was in person in an office somewhere.
Right. So